Hello, friend. Welcome back to the channel. I'm thrilled you're here, and I wish you well by God's grace. If you haven't yet, please hit that subscribe button and tap the bell so you never miss an update. Now, let's get into what has everyone going on and on about. For more than a decade, Sister Wives has whirled us on an unforgettable ride, full of love, faith, heartbreak, and more than a few gasps. The Brown family, with Cody leading the way, has navigated many ups and downs. But this latest twist, it's left fans silent. Cody has proposed, but not to a new bride. This time it's to Robin and her daughter Aurora. That's right, you read that here. And Robin? She didn't mince words. She told him he was crazy. So what actually happened? Why would Cody propose something so unexpected? And what does the future hold for the family? Let's start at the beginning. How it all started to make sense of this latest turn. We've got to go back a bit. Cody married Robin in 2010, after already being spiritually committed to Mary, Janelle, and Christine. Robin came into the family with 3 children from a previous relationship: Dayton, Aurora, and Brianna. Cody accepted Robin's children like they were his own from the very beginning. In fact, in 2014, he formally divorced Mary so that he could marry Robin on paper and adopt her children. It was a significant move that also represented his strong commitment, not only to Robin but to her family as well. But although the legal aspect was resolved, healing emotionally is always much more complex. Aurora, who was still very young at the time, struggled to adapt. In all the years since, the show has put her emotional turmoil in the spotlight, particularly her anxiety and abandonment fears. She clung tightly to Robin and Cody, and that emotional connection only intensified over the years. Now that Aurora is a young woman, and recently, fans have seen she's seeing more screen time again. In latest confessionals, she's expressed her concerns about the future. As her step-siblings and siblings have left to begin their own lives, Aurora has become less and less certain about what the future holds for her. Those close to the family indicated Cody has been hugely worried. He's aware of her vulnerability, and it is a burden to him, particularly since the family is more broken than ever. Others even claim that Cody began obsessing about the notion that no man would ever be good enough for Aurora. He reportedly wished aloud that she'd be able to find someone who treats her with the same level of respect he shows Robin. And then, it took a turn for the worse. One source alleges that Cody began to say he could be the one to shape her future personally. The moment no one saw coming from reports of the current season's shoot, the bombshell scene occurred at what was supposed to be a peaceful family dinner at Robin's place. Aurora was seated at the table, visibly subdued. Cody started speaking, more in the form of rambling, about how tough the world is today, and about how scarce it is to come across a man who actually treats women with respect. Next, Cody suddenly turned to Robin and uttered words that made the entire room speechless. He said, "Perhaps the solution is easy. If nobody else is good enough for her, perhaps I should just step in and be the one to marry her out. You and me, we can keep her close, keep her safe. I can make her my spiritual wife with you." Yes, actually, the room fell utterly silent. Aurora was said to gasp and cry tears. Robin draws the line, and the family pushes back. Robin stiffened in her chair. According to insiders, what ensued was far from tranquil. Robin hastily rose from the dining table, threw her napkin on the table and said, "Cody, are you out of your mind? That is never going to happen. You have lost your mind." And suddenly the tension boiled over. Robin stands her ground. If you've been watching Sister Wives for some time, then you understand that Robin's usually the one most eager to agree with Cody's choices, even if it means putting her own feelings aside. But not this time. She wasn't having it. A crew member reported Robin was visibly angry. She just kept saying over and over, "She's my daughter, not yours to determine what happens to her. You're crossing a line." And then, she stormed out of the room. Cody was left standing there, apparently confused and defensive. Later, in her one-on-one confession, Robin attempted to keep it together, but the emotion was transparent. Tears springing to her eyes, she explained, "Cody feels like he's protecting her. But this is not protection. This is control. It's just wrong. I love him, but I don't even know who he is right now. The other wives speak out. When word spread to the rest of the family, responses were immediate and forceful. Christine, never reticent, didn't mince words. That's gross. Period. Cody needs to get his head examined. If he can live with himself after doing something so vile, he's lost his mind. Janelle, more typically thoughtful in her comments, was also blunt. He's overstepping moral and spiritual ground. He needs to step back and allow Aurora to live her own life. Even Mary, who's avoided most of the drama recently, was said to be shocked. I don't even recognize him anymore, she said. That's not love. That's possession. Fans take to social media with shock and horror when rumors from the crew and teasers from the soon-to-air tell-all episode began circulating. Fans took to the internet to share their reactions. On Reddit, one commenter wrote, "This man has officially lost it. He's obsessed with Robin and her kids to the point of absurdity. Poor Aurora." Another fan tweeted, "Robin finally said what we've all been thinking for years. Cody is crazy." The backlash got so strong that online petitions began circulating, demanding that TLC cut ties with Cody and stop enabling what many saw as disturbing behavior. What was Cody thinking? So, why in the world would Cody even think about something like this? Mental health professionals and family relations specialists started chiming in. Some of them opined that Cody's behavior wasn't romantic in the least, but a desperate move to maintain dominance. After all, he's lost 3 of his wives to leaving or becoming emotionally distant. Most of his children are out of the house living their own lives, and his once tightly knit family has begun to disintegrate. Robin's home may be the last thread he has left to hold onto. Aurora, meanwhile, has also been repeatedly shown to be excessively reliant on Cody and Robin. In his own head, she might be the final bit of family he can keep safe, even if the way he's been doing that has grown horribly out of touch. Dr. Elisa Porter, the family therapist who has made some comments about the show previously, explained it simply, "This seems to be more about Cody's inability to deal with losing his family, rather than Aurora. His actions are irrational and desperate, which is why even Robin is resisting." Robin and Aurora's close bond. One thing has always been evident. Robin and Aurora have a very close bond. Throughout the series, we've seen Aurora break down in tears, terrified of being abandoned, and Robin has admitted more than once to being a bit overprotective, hovering, even. But this recent incident seems to have opened Robin's eyes. For the first time, she appears to be recognizing how Cody's behavior could actually be harming Aurora's ability to grow into her own person. In a deleted scene, Robin allegedly stared Cody directly in the eye and told, "She's not your property." Robin draws a line as the family experiences fallout. In a freeze-frame moment, Robin allegedly stared Cody straight in the eye and said, "She's not your second chance. She's not your property. She's my daughter, and she deserves to make her own choices." That was the line in the sand. Where do they go from here? Things have been strained since that explosive dinner, particularly in Robin's house. Sources say Aurora has begun to pull away. She's been doing more outside the home, and is actually thinking about going out of state to school. Robin, to her credit, is on board with the concept. She views it as a healthy move, a way for Aurora to mature independently, free of the emotional chaos Cody appears to bring into her life. And as for Cody, sources tell us he's been pouting. He can't seem to get it through his head why the ones around him are pushing back so hard. It's like, in his head, he really did think he was doing something heroic, and now he's the victim of unjust criticism. But the rest of the family, they're not buying it. The tell-all, what we might see the tell-all special coming up, is anticipated to dig deep into this scandal. Previews have indicated that Robin will call out Cody there on camera, sticking by her guns that what he did was totally out of bounds. There's even rumor that Aurora herself may appear, although it's yet to be seen if she'll go on the record about what transpired. Considering how delicate the situation is, that choice might still be pending. What's certain, however, is that this entire ordeal has reopened some old wounds and uncovered some concerning patterns in the Brown family dynamic. Cody's longtime troubles. Let's be real, this isn't about one miserable dinner conversation. Cody has long been accused of showing favoritism toward Robin and her kids. What he calls protection often looks a lot more like control. And time after time, we've seen him ignore the personal boundaries of the women and children in his life. So when Robin finally looked him in the eye and said, "You're crazy," it didn't just feel like a heated moment, it felt like a shift. Like even his closest ally had reached her breaking point. Could this be the end? That one moment, Robin snapping at Cody sparked a wave of fan theories. Many viewers now believe this could be the beginning of the end for Cody and Robin's relationship. After all, if the one wife who always stood by him is now openly challenging him, that suggests a crack in the foundation that may be too wide to fix. Some fans wonder if Robin might finally walk away, that she might choose to protect her children's well-being over Cody's increasingly erratic behavior. A family in crisis. The Browns have never tried to be perfect, and frankly, that's some of what's made Sister Wives so interesting to watch all these years. The messiness, the unfiltered emotion, it's all genuine. But this latest scandal, it might have crossed the line, even by their own standards. Cody's so-called proposal, for whatever his motives, has offended everyone, Robin included. Her tearful confession and Aurora's overwrought response reveal just how much harm has been caused. Are they recoverable from this? Perhaps. But the cracks are beginning to appear. And even Robin appears to notice that Cody's love comes with strings that are perhaps too heavy to bear. Shifting gears, the real reason behind the clashes now. Let's pivot to another long-running mystery in the Sister Wives world. Why one particular wife always seems to be at the center of the conflict. Over the years, we've watched plenty of tension between the wives and between Cody and the wives too. But one person in particular has stood out for constantly butting heads with others. She's clashed with Janelle, she's sparred with Christine, and she's even had tense moments with Cody himself. So what's really going on? We're about to take a closer look at the history, the hurt feelings, the jealousy, and the unmet expectations that have fueled these conflicts, and uncover the deeper reasons why the Sister Wives star has never quite fit in. A quick recap. The early days. To trace where it all began, we need to head back to the start. When Sister Wives first appeared on our TV screens, we got to meet Cody Brown and his three wives, Mary, Janelle, and Christine, and their big boisterous family. Their way of life may have been unorthodox at the time, but the dynamic seemed to be, well, reasonably stable. Then Robin arrived on the scene. The fourth wife. When Robin joined the ranks of the Brown family as the fourth wife, it wasn't long before things began to feel off. Right from the start, she and Cody had a potent chemistry, something that the cameras picked up on well enough. They liked each other, openly and warmly. But to the other wives, and to many viewers, it was a discomforting contrast to the more reserved relationships Cody had with Mary, Janelle, and Christine. As the years progressed, those initial ripples grew into greater cracks. Although Robin frequently wept in front of the camera, pleading for family reconciliation and harmony, some of the things she did, or the way that they were interpreted, only seemed to compound the problem, particularly with Janelle and Christine. Robin's early life and the family were not smooth. When she arrived, the first three wives had already accumulated more than a decade of shared experience. They'd raised kids together, created family rituals, and learned each other's rhythms, both the explicit and implicit rules of their lives. Robin naturally didn't know those rules. Christine had become the full-time caregiver, most often staying home taking care of all the kids. Janelle worked towards establishing her career and helping financially. Mary had the position of Cody's sole legal wife then, a position that, though complicated, still held importance. Robin's arrival flipped everything upside down, not necessarily because she wanted to upset the dynamic, but because Cody's demeanor underwent a complete change overnight. He spent much more time at Robin's residence. He fawned over her and her kids, who were from her previous union, tenderness, which at times came across as a slap in the face to his biological children. Before long, Christine reported, on tape, that she felt utterly invisible. Janelle conceded she felt replaced. And Mary, who was already fighting rejection, spiraled even deeper into isolation. To them, Robin was living in the limelight, whether or not she meant to be. Money troubles, the quiet battle. Another huge source of tension. Money. Fans might not know how much of a mess the family's financial situation became once Robin moved into the house. Robin entered the marriage with a large amount of debt accrued from her past. Cody demanded that the whole family assist in paying it off so she and her children would be able to start fresh. This did not make everyone happy. Janelle, who had been the primary breadwinner for years, was enraged. In her opinion, all her diligence was now being used to pay another person's own bad judgment. Christine, who had relinquished her own career to be a stay-at-home mom, feared their already tight budget would be stretched even further. Next came the now notorious Coyote Pass purchase, a massive parcel of property to be used to build custom homes for each wife. The idea seemed fabulous on paper, but disagreements over whose would be built first, and suggestions that Cody and Robin might be given priority, fueled an entire new generation of resentment. To this day, a few members of the family believe Robin has influenced large financial decisions to favor herself and her children, and left the others to struggle. Emotional manipulation, or just misunderstood. Another of the largest complaints Robin receives, both from viewers and from the other wives, is that she is a victim. Year after year we've seen her tear up during confessional interviews. She talks about how sad she is that the family is falling apart. She says she just wants peace. But behind the scenes, Christine and Janelle have suggested, sometimes subtly, sometimes quite plainly, that Robin uses those tears to influence Cody and shift the narrative. They think she portrays herself as the one holding everyone together, quietly destabilizing the other wives in the process. One standout moment: favoritism, frustration, and a family divided. At the peak of the pandemic, tensions within the Brown family reached a boiling point, particularly when it came to Cody's living situation. Cody spent almost all his time at Robin's. In the meantime, he imposed strict COVID safety measures on Janelle's and Christine's houses to the point where it was almost impossible for him to visit either of them or the kids. Not surprisingly, this did not go down well. As Christine described it, "It feels like Cody has chosen her. He's not even hiding it anymore." The idea that Robin was resorting to guilt, crying, and even her children to maintain Cody in close proximity only exacerbated the resentment that had been building underneath. Favoritism and Cody's responsibility. Fair enough though, a great deal of this dysfunction is not entirely Robin's fault. Cody has a large share of the blame. When he wed Robin, he was utterly besotted. He told her that she awakened him to emotions he didn't know he still had. It may sound like the stuff of romance, but for the other wives it was heartbreaking. Christine subsequently disclosed that Cody informed her he was not in love with her anymore. Janelle also confessed that he did not express romantic interest in her too. And Mary, she was emotionally abandoned and further drifted away from the marriage she'd fought so desperately to save. Cody, on the other hand, stayed fully engaged with Robin, all affection, attentive and present. Whether intentionally or not, this glaring favoritism pushed the other wives emotionally. And since Robin was the one getting all of his attention, she became the lightning rod for everyone's anger. Parenting problems and inequitable attention. Another prime flashpoint has been parenting. Robin has consistently expressed her wish for her kids to be loved and totally accepted within the family. But to Christine and Janelle, and even to their children, it appeared as if Cody went out of his way only for Robin's children. Over holidays and family gatherings, Cody tended to center on Robin's kids, complimenting them more, spending more time with them, and showering them with more encouragement. That did not go unnoticed. Janelle's sons, Garrison and Gabriel, were particularly devastated. They've publicly expressed their frustration, blaming Cody for emotionally leaving them out during the pandemic, while opting to get all snuggly and close with Robin's family. Robin, meanwhile, has stated that she simply wants all the kids to be friends with each other. But her behavior, or at least the way it's perceived, tends to do the opposite. Robin's isolation, and the wall around her. Ironically, the more Robin struggled to establish a place for herself in the family, the further away she was isolated. She did initially want to connect with the other wives, but Christine's and the others' suspicion made it difficult for genuine trust to be established. So Robin began to back away, established her own routines, spent more time alone, employed her own nanny, something that really made the other wives angry. All of that only strengthened the sense that Robin wasn't part of the sisterhood, that perhaps she never really did want to be. Tell-all confessions, raw truths revealed. In recent tell-all shows, the gloves have come off. Christine's been particularly candid. She's spoken in a straightforward way that she doesn't trust Robin, doesn't respect her, and views her as the wedge that drove the family apart. Janelle, though typically more reticent, spoke in similar terms. She confessed that she no longer feels Robin desires a real plural marriage. she simply desires Cody for herself. Even Mary, who once stood up for Robin, has begun to gently distance herself. As for Robin, she swears she never intended to bring about division. In her own words, "I just wanted love and family. I never asked to be the favorite. I just wanted to belong." Personality clashes, cultural gaps, and the road ahead. Some of the conflict in the Brown family isn't necessarily about favoritism or money. At its simplest, some of it is based on basic differences in personality and where they were raised. Robin grew up in a different type of polygamous home than the other wives. Her perspective on plural marriage was more idealistic, perhaps even romanticized. She believed in a vision in which each wife is equally loved, and the women support each other completely like sisters. But what she entered into, it wasn't that. Christine and Janelle had already spent years trapped in disappointment. They'd learned to accept emotional neglect, broken promises, and being treated like an afterthought. Their experience conditioned them to be more wary, more skeptical, less optimistic about what this lifestyle could really deliver. So when Robin arrived, full of hope and optimism, it collided sharply with the world Christine and Janelle had been living in for more than a decade. Fans take sides season after season. Sister Wives enthusiasts haven't hesitated to share their thoughts. The relationship between Robin and the rest of the clan has been the subject of endless discussion. Some feel bad for Robin. They consider her an easy target for Cody's shortcomings, as a woman who's simply trying to deal with a complicated situation with a man who has favorites. Others think she's been manipulative throughout, that she manipulated Cody's love to create a special place for herself and children, even if it killed the rest of the family. There are online polls, comments, and forums filled with such questions as, is Robin truly responsible for the demise of the family, or is she merely the easiest target since Cody can't seem to treat his wives fairly? The truth? It is likely somewhere in the middle. Is there hope for healing? And now that Christine has officially split with Cody, and with the whole family setup still coming apart at the seams, it's only natural to wonder, is reconciliation even an option anymore? Robin still cares for Cody. That much is certain. But the big one-family life she dreamed of is fading steadily further and further out of reach. For her, the notion of a monogamous marriage with Cody now appears to be tinged with bitterness. She has his entire focus at the moment, but she's lost the sisterhood she'd yearned for. Christine and Janelle, however, have themselves revealed how much happier and more liberated they are as solitary persons. The prospect of going back to a place where they don't feel loved or appreciated, that option appears closed to them for now, at least. And Cody, well, he seems to be conflicted. He's grieving the loss of his family, but his behavior still demonstrates a firm priority: Robin. And that preference keeps driving others away. What's really behind the conflict? So what is the actual cause of all this conflict? It's not jealousy, not favoritism, and not money. It's all of that twisted with years of emotional hurt, damaged feelings, and unfulfilled expectations. Robin didn't build the gaps in the Brown family foundation, but her arrival, and Cody's response to it, deepened those gaps. Whether Robin was misinterpreted or actually manipulative has a great deal to do with your vantage point. But one thing is for sure, the Brown family tale is more complicated than anyone ever realized. And that's one of the reasons why they continue to watch. Because beneath the reality TV melodrama, this is a narrative about love, loyalty, heartbreak, jealousy, and attempting to cling when everything begins to collapse. And ultimately, audiences aren't watching to see what transpires next. They're viewing in an effort to comprehend why.